All right, welcome to another edition of Vegas Badboyz of podcasting. Thank you for hanging out with us. We're back here. We just rewarded found a winner for our 2 tickets to SummerSlam, and shout out to Shannon for winning that. And exciting times, and for everyone who participated, we do want to say thank you for participating in that. And we look forward to doing something like that again, and hopefully you'll get a chance to participate and win some tickets. So with that, it is our wrestling talk time, and lots of wrestling been going on this past week and this weekend. And man, so much. We're just gonna have to get this party started real quick. Monday Night Raw. Let's just get right into it, guys. We got Randy Orton back. Anyone excited about having Randy back? I mean, it's noticeable when he's not there, right?
Yeah. I mean, he came in smiling. I mean, that was cute.
Yeah.
I got the impression that he was genuinely happy to be back in front of fans. Like we've all seen Randy Orton, the baby face. We've all seen Randy Orton that, tries to act one particular way when he's not really feeling that particular way. And I think that Orton was really happy to be back in front of a live audience on Monday. That was the thing that stood out to me. Oh, and Matt Riddle calling Randy Orton a big girthy snake.
Yeah. Yes, that too. Yeah. Anything? By the way, so we didn't know how they were going to work sort of Lily into some sort of a video into a live audience. They figured it out, Steve. They figured it out. I know you probably weren't a fan, but her winking her eye like that made it really dope. I loved it. I just hope the arena got a chance. Hopefully the inside the house, they saw her blink, because if not, then
they didn't.
No, they didn't. They didn't.
Oh, you saw it, and that's why you got excited.
Okay.
They didn't do anything. Like I was thinking the same thing as you. I would have loved for them to literally put, the camera angle up on the Jumbotron or on the Titantron or whatever. I mean, if nothing else, to sell it to the fans in the arena. But from people that were actually in the building, they said that they did absolutely nothing, and it looked like it was just a surprise roll up.
Yeah, it would have been kind of difficult though to get to put that clip on the Jumbotron and then have the action happen in terms of the timing. I don't think it just probably wouldn't have worked out very well.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's literally a drop-in shot that they throw in, and
yeah,
sure,
yeah.
Well,
other than that, the only cool thing about Raw is we know Corbin is on his mother's family plan. He's saving money, man. I mean, I always want. I mean, real talk. We live in Vegas. There's a lot of homeless people here. May they be protected in these streets, especially in the heat. But I always wonder, some of them got cell phones, and I always wondered how that worked. But, Corbin, has a cell phone. He's on his mama's plan, so he can still communicate for job interviews, of course.
Let me just tell you, because we can. This is so we mentioned Raw, but we'll talk about SmackDown in this segment as well. I really think Corbin has done a good job in this particular role. Would you guys agree with that? I mean, I don't know if you like the storyline or not, but I mean, this guy has played it up. I mean, he's grew the beard, the little stubs, wearing the same shirt. And how does he say the things he say and not laugh? I mean, he literally asked the entire arena for $1,000 each. How do you say that and not laugh with a straight face?
Because he gets paid and you don't, and that's why you wouldn't get paid to do it.
But you know what? I will say this. I used to give Corbin shit all the time. Not because of his in-ring, prowess, because he is solid, always has been. But I always had a problem with him talking, and I had a problem with him trying to capture the audience's attention. And you know what? I got to be honest with you. Corbin, you're doing fucking fantastic, man. And that's not the first time you've impressed me. You impressed me a little bit before that. But I thought after the Kingdom was done for you, that was going to be it. You was going to be on your way out. And you've proven me wrong. I'm sure other people maybe feel the same way. So kudos to him and the work he's doing. I look forward to seeing him on Raw and on SmackDown. Well, SmackDown, but now on Raw, because he's going to be apparently on both shows.
Well, he was only on Raw because the opportunity was presented that there was an offer, to get some money. I mean, it made sense to have him. Why not show up and ask for the money?
Send him anywhere. Let's send him to NXT. To be a butler if they need a second butler.
Well, what's really interesting, I think, is that there's a good chance that we might see the culmination being that someone figures out that this has all been bullshit on his end, that he's really actually loaded.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be.
Well, I was really wondering what they were going to do with this. So I was wondering what was going to happen with the storyline when Kevin Owens beat him, because I'm like, well, it's not like he's going to get rich all of a sudden. So where are they going to go from here? And I thought what they did was perfect, in terms of running off with the Money in the Bank. However, offer it for ransom or cashing it in and winning, whatever the case may be, at least there was something. I don't know, but I was quite concerned where they were going to go after he couldn't beg anymore. But yet we're still supposed to believe that he's homeless. You know what I mean?
You know what? We'll probably see something to the extent of either him trying to sell it at a pawn shop, something like that.
Right.
Sell it to another wrestler,
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that's where I think that you're going to see some kind of, line like that. Because if I'm not mistaken, if I remember correctly, they literally said as he was running out with it, what an idiot, he can't cash it in.
Right.
So that, I mean,
yeah,
even the announcers realize, well, you're so stupid because it has no value because you're not on that contract. So
right, yeah.
What they needed, if they had went in that direction, it would have been funny if he couldn't cash in anywhere, obviously, and then at one of the shows he can't get nothing to eat and he cashes it in to get a hot dog from a kid or some shit. I mean, that would have been hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask y'all this. And if you want to go back to Raw, that's fine, because we're doing both here. We have a new Intercontinental Champion. Are you happy about that? Matt Michaels, are you finally happy about that?
That happened on SmackDown. We're still doing Raw.
No, we're doing both.
Oh, okay. I was just curious.
Read the breakdown. I actually was very happy that Apollo does not have that. Now all we have to do is just figure a way to maybe Baron Corbin can hit Apollo with the briefcase, and Apollo will go back to not speaking in this stupid access, get rid of the character, just he's back to himself.
I think you give him a lot more shit than I think this was a pretty good gimmick for him than what he was doing before.
Name one memorable moment.
You could go down any of the wrestling roster of name that memorable moment,
But
I'm just saying overall.
The truth, what I'm trying to say is the truth of the matter with that is the honest thing being that if the character was something that is working to any extent, my feeling is that there would be something to, okay, listen, we just on Baron Corbin, who was given something as stupidly ridiculous as you're wrestling on TV, but you have absolutely no money anymore.
Right. It's like he lost his downside guarantee as well.
Yeah. So, and he's been able to make us go, oh, yeah, well, he did this kind of good. Oh, he stole the briefcase, blah, blah, blah. You kind of remember stuff. What do you remember about Apollo Crews doing this character? It's just him. He's in the same position he was as before this character, except he has a huge bodyguard who adds nothing to this game either. So I just think it's
okay.
Yeah,
I got you. I
gotta agree too, man. Because here's the thing: now that he's lost the IC title, there's really no place for him to go. You would have to really pinch your brain extra hard to try and come up with where the fuck he could possibly go, because there really isn't. And he just looked like an extra in a movie. He wasn't playing a defining role. And I'm not trying to be anything bad towards Apollo Crews. He's a tremendous competitor. It didn't do shit for anybody. It was about as lame as Missionary Style.
Well, speaking of that, let's jump right into that particular segment. John Cena and Roman Reigns.
Awesome.
Fire on Cena's part and Reigns, but Cena came deep. Ooh.
Yeah. What was the one line he said? Like, they're just hoping that you actually just work out as their last main chance. Something like that.
Like Michael said, 1, 2, 3. Cena was methodical in the way he delivered that fucking promo. He said, you could beat me up, you could do all this shit. He went down his little chummy ass move set, but he said, all I need is 1, 2, 3. And not only do you become a trivia question, how did John Cena win the most titles against who? I'm the most winners, and it's pretty freaking amazing. I got to give Cena his props.
Yeah. And
I'm not a big Cena fan like that, like Michaels. Michaels loves Cena. I'm okay with Cena.
Cena's awesome. Listen.
DJ, let me ask you this. Did you see Suicide Squad yet?
I did, yes.
You did?
Mm-hmm. What'd you think?
What'd you think about good old John and his whitey tidies and
that space between?
Could you see it? Because
no one could see it.
That was an impressive. That was a 16-time champion package right there.
I don't know. It seemed a little deflated, like it still needed some room for something else.
Oh man,
that's what the ladies were saying. The ladies were saying like he put on a large pair when he should have put on a medium.
All he was missing was the eyes and the mouth, and you would have had Mr. Sacco on his.
You know what the coolest thing about that, Michaels, is that it was completely white. Because in the scene, they're camping out in the jungle. He come out with white, all white.
Well, I'll tell y'all this. I am very excited for this match. That whole interaction between those two in the ring just really is like, yeah, this is one of those matches that's going to be just exciting to see. And that's all I got to say about that. Is there anything else just from those two shows that you guys want to throw? Go ahead.
Well, I was definitely going to, before I get into Bay, and I don't mean Chris Bay, I mean my Bay, Sasha Banks. One thing coming from Raw, which I think will be really good, is what's going to be happening with some of the matches that aren't title contention, right? If I'm not mistaken, aren't they doing a match with Damian Priest and Sheamus, correct? Can I be wrong? Am I wrong with that one? Yeah. I think that's going to be interesting. I have a huge feeling that it's going to go Damian Priest's way. I could be completely wrong. I know Sheamus just got engaged. I don't know if that means he's immediately going to get married or whatever the case is going to be. But I'd like to see Damian Priest with the belt. I think it would be interesting. I think that he's earned our right, especially what he did with WrestleMania with Bad Bunny. He looked pretty good. And as we've said before, he's X amount of years old. Hurry can put a belt on him so he can kind of have his run, because you don't know how long he's got, you know, give or take. But that's how much I have on that one. But the other one was obviously, can we talk about Sasha Banks and what she did on SmackDown? Meeting her little witnesses, and Bianca Belair, shit, the way she did that somersault flip over the table, that looked pretty fucking amazing. That's kind of building up. I'm excited to see those two go at it for a round two. I didn't think I would,
so
I didn't want to take. Go ahead.
Yeah, here is a potential problem.
Yep.
They both have COVID.
Yeah.
And there's that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Off all live events until SummerSlam.
Well, if they don't perform for SummerSlam, I really, really, really want to see Selena Vega versus Carmella. That match right there will be 10 times better than Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks 2 could ever produce. Let me tell you. Are you not excited?
Stop it. Oh, man. Well, that's the times we're in now. So,
but that's also it brings up a great question though, and that is, they have COVID. Who else is going to test positive? Can we see a derailment of SummerSlam based on the fact that everyone's going to have COVID?
Well, can I just ask this question? And I've been asking Lisa this when we watch these wrestling shows. Why is talent going down the ramp, high-fiving, and all this touching fan stuff? Like, I don't. Why are we pretending like this is not real, like it's not existing? I mean, it's bad both for the talent and for hey, I don't care. Mike Michaels right now is giving them the money signal, which I get, but man, come on. I mean, not only the talent could possibly pass it to the fan, but the fan could pass it to the talent, and it just keeps going on from there. There just should be no touching involved. Just salute them. Just go down and, peace sign, throw the little finger, I see you. Come on. We ain't got to be touching it. All the faces just going down, just high-fiving. I'm just like, okay, Well,
but and there's another, you bring up that issue, which is very real, and then you have another issue which they didn't have to deal as much with, and that is, they're flying not to just Orlando and back home. They're flying to all these different places now. So
yeah.
And that Delta variant is real. Not gonna go into that subject, but it is real. I know people, unvaccinated and vaccinated alike, who have had positive tests for COVID.
Yeah.
I know when I go to SummerSlam, I'm gonna be double face masking it, and I ain't touching not a nobody. That.
Hey, I feel you. Listen, man. Hey, we're gonna be 70,000 strong on there. Yeah, you might want to be, You're
gonna see me gloved up. You're gonna see me. I might get gloved up.
Wear your fucking hazmat suit.
For real, I'm just gonna be in a whole fucking hazmat suit.
You know what you need to start doing? So you just, like, as you're standing there, as it's quiet, right? Quiet minute, you kind of quiet moment, you kind of hear the, just kind of a little bit of a, but people around you can't really, there's not much going on, no chanting, no scream or anything. And just at the top of your lungs, achoo!
No.
Oh man. Been feeling kind of weird.
I'm gonna pay somebody to do that, because they ain't about
nowadays you may take one to the face if you do that.
Ain't lying.
They just turn around and boom.
But I think that's more if you ain't got no damn mask. I mean, if you're doing that, you ain't got no mask. I've seen that actually happen to where it caused a fight.
So what you need to do?
Not bad.
You need to take a little water from a cup.
Oh fuck that, man!
So you really trying to get your ass kicked?
You're trying to get me all the way fucked up.
Right?
Absolutely not, sir. Yeah. Absolutely not.
That's
only if someone records the shit. That's all that I ask. we gotta see footage.
No, not on my account. Hell to the no.
Yeah, listen. I'm sure we're gonna see at least 3 or 4 matches inside of the stadium, just from the fans themselves, while the real match is going on. So,
can I ask y'all a question? Real talk. And I just thought about it. So like before big matches happen, how they used to have the referees would check, their attire to see if there's like brass rings and shit. Why don't they just do the same thing, but just have them sanitize everybody's hand and shit? Just have like sanitizer juice, just the both of them before they start the match.
Oh shit!
Laughing, but that shit's real. I'm just why not?
All right, listen.
You still think they use baby oil? Hey, baby oil.
Sanitizer.
Sanitizer juice. You got to get it right. He called it sanitizer juice.
Get some of that sanitizer splooge on there.
Dominic could use a little of that sanitizer juice. Maybe get a little bigger.
Take out the sanitizer, just some juice.
Oh my God. Hey, if you guys have any comments, definitely throw it within the chat, and we will definitely get it in there when we see fit. All right. All right. Well, look, that's I guess that's it. Raw, SmackDown. We're gonna have this week, which should be very hype shows going into SummerSlam. So yeah, we should be exciting TV this week. All right, let's get to the real excitement, right? AEW Dynamite, and we're gonna go ahead and throw Rampage up in there too. Wow. And I'm gonna say this, Sin City, Steve. Let me just throw the name out there, Dante Martin.
Yep.
I listen. The first thing that came to my mind, and this might be wrong. Hopefully it isn't. Was, man, AEW got their own Reggie. I ain't gonna lie. I did say that. But Dante is something special. I enjoy exactly everything that he did, and I'm hoping that they really do continue to, work with him and push him towards the top. So I'll just start with there, man. Shout out to him.
Definitely, man. And it's great that you bring up Dante Martin, because he was the MVP of a match that I wanted to talk about. Obviously, Kenny Omega and the Bucks versus the Sydal brothers and Dante Martin. If you just look at the names on a sheet of paper or on a screen, you're like, okay, well, it's obvious this is just a glorified squash match. Right. Realistically speaking, obviously, Dante Martin came out of this looking like the true MVP. Not just the MVP of his team. He was the guy that stood out the most in the entire match out of all 6 guys. Also, though, the Sydal brothers, yes, we all know that they're at this point enhancement level talent, but I do have to give them some credit as well. We've known for forever that Matt Sydal is an amazing high flyer. He continues to work on his technical and his ground game. So, very, very solid stuff there. This match was just all about Dante Martin, though. I mean, literally a human highlight reel, especially for the last 5 minutes of the match. And quite frankly, at the beginning of the match, the live crowd really wasn't into it necessarily. But once things started kicking and started clicking, then they got into it, and it just blossomed from there for sure. Absolutely. I mean, when they introduced him, like, it was quiet. People like, yes, who's he? I mean, he was an afterthought. He's in a tag team called Top Flight, and Tony Khan didn't really have a spot for him on the main AEW roster, but he saw the talent that he had, and he put him he got him in the tag team, and it was just solid. That way they found a spot for both he and Darius Martin and put them together, and that kind of kept him on the show. But now I think that if they're smart, they don't put them back together when Darius comes back from injury. I think that they continue to have Dante do his thing in a singles capacity. Sky's the limit for that guy. No pun intended.
I agree. Sean says, and of course he's mentioning because of what I said, but he says Dante is 10 times better than Reggie. So
yes.
Again, that was just the first thought. When I saw him again, when he was just doing all the flips, it just reminded me real quick. I'm like, oh, they got their own now, But I mean, yeah. I mean, Sean, I agree. Dante, I know his name now. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
So he did his job. So, yeah, man. What else you got, Sensity?
Well, we also have to talk about the main event of the show, Chris Jericho versus Wardlow with MJF at ringside. This was the fourth labor of Jericho. And as was a surprise to absolutely no one, Chris Jericho picked up the win. And
right.
Just get us to this MJF match and just get this behind us, please.
Yeah.
It's not doing any favors for Chris Jericho at this point. He did well on Rampage on commentary, and I would love to see him slide into that kind of a role after this feud with MJF is done. And it's just one of those things, man. Like, unfortunately, you can see that Chris Jericho has lived a full career and a full life and has enjoyed himself for many, many years. Unfortunately, we are able to start to see those things week in and week out taking a toll on his body. Yeah, and that's probably the most politically correct way I can say it.
I mean, there is a reason they called it the labors of Jericho, because at some point he's going to drop a baby out of that belly.
You said it, brother. Yeah, and that's the thing. I'm someone that is a complete Jericho mark. I've been a fan of his, since I saw him in ECW and then in WCW. Yeah. And it was one of those things that, it's been difficult to kind of see like a decline in the way that he's taking care of himself or lack thereof. And granted, I'm no fucking prize, but I'm not on, national TV every week with my shirt off.
Well, you're also not, you're not in your 50s yet either. And
correct.
That is finally, it's starting to take a toll, because as you age, you can look great for a period of time. And then all of a sudden you wake up one Tuesday morning and like things have changed,
Right.
Well, it's not even just
it happens.
It's not even just that too, but as you get older, you got to stay engaged all the time.
Yeah.
And the minute you don't have that grace you had when you were young. I mean, shit, your ass start eating potato chips for a fucking week straight. It take you about a good 6 months just to get them fucking extra 7 pounds off.
Shout out to John. He just said that Jericho must be skipping those DDP yoga workouts.
He must, man. After the match, MJF got on the mic, as he has done after every previous match in the Labors of Jericho series, and basically set up what's going to happen the next match. And the stipulation for next week, as Chris Jericho faces MJF, he will not be able to use the Judas effect. And he will not be able to come out to Judas. He will not have his ring entrance theme. So what I really appreciate is the AEW Twitter account actually tweeted out the lyrics page to the song Judas. And they said it would be a huge problem and a crime if the capacity crowd sang this song next week when Chris Jericho comes down to the ring. So they're basically seating the crowd to sing Judas a cappella style. We'll see how that train wreck.
Exactly.
Train wreck
so as we just established, you have a full arena inside who is going to probably be unmasked singing at full capacity, which means that nobody's going to get sick. It's all good. Way to go. Best decision ever, guys, to just fuck it. Let's just have 15,000 people sing together at one time.
One massive choir.
Hey, what good is COVID if you can't share?
Sharing is caring.
And coughing, apparently.
I guess.
Let me just mention one thing that, there's always at least one thing that bothers me.
Of course, I would expect nothing less.
And this happened, I guess this was on, I think this was on Dynamite. This happens, or maybe it was on Rampage, I don't know. But it was when Tony Schiavone's son got thrown into the ring, right?
That was Rampage, wasn't it?
Okay,
Rampage.
No. Okay.
That was Dynamite?
That was Dynamite.
That's what I thought, okay.
Same day,
Yeah, so this is the only thing that bothered me, Sin City, on this one. I guess the guy name is Aaron Solo. He is supposed to be holding his son so that what's the main guy? The
QT Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall. So he could do his move on him. But there's just times where he's not even like holding him, like, keeping him from being attacked. He just kind of got his arm just barely around him, like almost like they're best friends, almost like his arm is around his waist. Nowhere near trying to, stop him from what's about to happen. And that to me just got annoying. Just pretend. That's all you got to do. Pretend like, first off, his son should be trying to pretend like he wants to get out of Aaron's hold.
DJ, why are you even
saying
this? He can't. Why is Tony Schiavone's son involved in any of this shit anyway?
Well, that's a good question.
Stupid.
Yeah, and that's a good question. That too.
Come on.
But the whole segment, I didn't care for it. And Aaron Solo messed it up. So yeah.
Dog shit and involved QT, so of course it was crap anyway.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Rampage though, what do you guys, y'all like it?
Yeah. I thought that it was an extremely solid show. Top to bottom. I obviously
so let me ask,
yeah, go ahead, bro.
Well, I'm just gonna ask you. So do they record that after Dynamite or before Dynamite?
I genuinely don't know. It would not surprise me if they recorded it after Dynamite was complete, so that in the name of continuity.
Should they do big matches knowing that the information can get out within a day?
Week one. It was week one. They just had to do big matches because it's week one. You're going to probably see.
Okay.
Yeah. Next week will be another exception.
Okay. Oh,
because
okay.
Yeah, because they booked the United Center for next week and sold that out in 24 minutes, I think it was. So it's
check the ticket resales though.
Oh, I know.
That's a big misleading thing. That is unbelievable how many tickets are available through resale.
Yeah. That doesn't surprise me either. I mean, everybody's pinpointing, like, everyone's just assuming that that's going to be the debut for CM Punk. I actually was watching the NFL Network, and Adam Rank, who is an analyst on there, actually said of Justin Fields for the Chicago Bears that his debut, their starting quarterback, in case you don't follow football, their starting quarterback, his debut in the first preseason game was the most anticipated debut in Chicago this week until CM Punk does his debut in AEW. So, I mean, name dropping that stuff, and it's kind of crazy that everybody's pinpointed that date as being the one for Punk to show up.
This has no other choice but to happen now.
It better.
If it doesn't, then you're going to have a lot of pissed off people, because
you're going to lose those fans. You're going to lose 100,000 to 200,000 fans just off merit.
And you're going to lose me. You're going to lose me forever, AEW. I'm just letting you know, because I'm a CM Punk guy. And that'll be the only way I'll continually watch AEW if he really does come through. This is what it is. If you don't come through, I ain't watching the shit no more.
When SmackDown goes off.
And you would still watch WWE?
Well, I watch WWE because I have to do the podcast. But if y'all assign me to AEW, then I have to be forced to watch AEW. So don't assign me to AEW.
Fair enough.
So you're saying that you You would
No, I'm not saying. I'm saying don't do that.
You're saying that you have to watch WWE because of the podcast?
No. I choose to watch it. I was just being dramatic. I was being dramatic for the week. But I will be honest with you. I'm excited to watch AEW on that date because I'm a CM Punk guy. And if I can't get him back in the capacity when he left WWE, shit, I'll get him any way I can. And if I'm disillusioned like some people will be, then fine. But AEW has to deliver on that promise because that's huge.
Would be the best is if he just joined the broadcast team on Rampage.
It wouldn't be any different than what he did on WWE when he joined the Fox panel.
But specifically on Rampage because they don't have enough broadcasters who are former WWE people at one table at one time.
Not to mention they had 4. They had 4 fucking play-by-play and
I don't even think I heard Matt Henry at all.
Mark Henry?
Mark Henry. Yeah. I think the only time I heard him was when he was in the back,
probably
interviewing. When he was interviewing the what's their names?
Christian Cage and the Jurassic Express.
Right.
I think Mark is still getting settled into the role. I did notice on several occasions Excalibur teeing Mark Henry up with questions, and he was the only person that he asked him specific things and posed them as questions directly to Mark. So I think he's still trying to get his feet wet with calling live action, which, hey, it's going to be a work in progress. And we can just hope that he takes to it as quick as possible. So,
yeah.
But nonetheless, Kenny Omega, Christian Cage for DJ, your Impact Wrestling World Championship. The title defended on an AEW show and a title change on an AEW TV show. Christian Cage picking up the win in 15 minutes. Impact, what say you about this match?
Ridiculous. It's straight bullshit. It just makes no sense. First off, Christian Cage is still an AEW employee. So what are they just going to do? They're just going to just change it around the different AEW. If I was a part of the Impact talent, I'll just maybe feel like I was shit right now. Sir, you telling me there's nobody here in this back that deserves to have that belt? It's just going to keep moving around within AEW.
It's not about that though. You see, you're under the logic. No. You're following logic. The honest, there's a couple of honest answers. One, we don't know what the working relationship is, the agreement is, right? We have no clue because obviously they're not making any sense with any of this. You're on the right track with, well, why would that title be defended not only on an AEW show, but you have an AEW person win the title? Well, Christian Cage is someone who had the Impact TNA title. Okay. I go a step further and say, why did Scotty Damora come out and congratulate him? This guy just won your title, but he is not part of your show.
Right.
Your company. So you should still have animosity to this person because your belt is not going back to your company. And you would figure,
stupid.
There's just no logic on some of these levels unless, and on top of that, you know what, let's be honest. So AEW, basically what you just did is you had Christian win to make it seem like Christian can beat Kenny for the AEW title. And that match against Kenny will be Christian's first loss in AEW. That's great. That's fine and dandy. But now what the fuck happens to your Impact Championship? And Christian, who just signed with you guys for all this, money, is now going to have to show up on Impact and wrestle there until he loses the belt there?
And to another person from AEW says, I'll challenge you for that Impact title. And then he ended up losing it and giving it to them because apparently someone got a shitty deal.
Yeah,
well, Impact got Damora.
I mean, in all honesty, the one thing that this could potentially do is right your wrong, because you already had Moose lose to Omega. Now that Moose is under contract, now you can potentially have
that. That's ultimately what I would hope to figure
Moose
to happen. Yeah.
Yeah, except for the fact that Moose was on the New Japan show and lost
to Ishii.
Well,
yeah,
right. Yeah.
Still,
now,
it's ridiculous.
Realistically, though, I mean, I saw this as a completely positive. Looking at it, even from an Impact point of view, realistically, you had a champion that talked shit about the company, that hated on Impact, that hated on TNA, that basically pissed on the legacy. And instead, you have somebody who, quite frankly, had the TNA championship. And a lot of people thought that he did an amazing job with that title. Now, realistically, even in the post-match promo that he cut with Mark Henry that you guys had alluded to, I got the feeling from it that Christian is going to be on Impact on a weekly basis, not in a negative light by any means, but he's going to outwork everyone and actually be a babyface with that championship.
Right.
I don't see it as a negative whatsoever.
Everything you just said, I agree with, for the exception of the idea that he is still not an Impact employee.
It still AEW for the other Impact wrestlers. So you lose now to a face in AEW instead of a heel in AEW.
Yeah. So it is true that he's going to treat it with respect and be nice and all that, but still, I still would be thinking some sort of way if I'm one of the guys in the back going, I can't have that title. I'm Eddie Edwards. I can't beat somebody. I can't have it.
But we've already seen Eddie Edwards.
I'm just saying, you go down the fucking list. I just mentioned him though. I mean, everybody's like, you can't get it, or you can't get you can't, Sammy, you can't have it. Moose, you can't get it. No, nobody. AEW is the only one that now can hold that. To me, it's bullshit. I don't like it.
But you'll still watch it.
Of course. So a couple of things was mentioned. Chris says, and Chris, shame on you. He said Impact is still bitter that Rich Swann is an Impact champion. Maybe.
No, that's facts. That's facts.
Yeah,
Impact.
yeah.
That's facts when it comes to you. You still upset.
Guilty as charged.
And then John says John said that's the most watched Impact title change, and it wasn't even on Impact. Oh Lord.
Sometimes the truth is a bitch.
So yeah.
Impact. I know you're mad about it, but let it play out. I have faith that everything's gonna work out. And let me ask you this. Are you pissed off that Deonna Purrazzo now is holding the AAA Women's Championship?
Mm-hmm. Of course not.
No, because she's going to have that title on Impact, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
She's not contracted to AAA.
But the question is going to be is how is that relationship is going to be between the two? The relationship, it seems like with AEW and Impact, is that the relationship is that AEW is just the winner in all of this. There is no going back and forth. Maybe Impact can show that they can be dominant in holding their own belt or consistently beating some wrestler in AEW. They're always taking the L. So the question is going to be, where's there going to be a relationship between Impact and AAA? Is it just going to be Deanna's the only one that's just beating up on AAA and they never get any wins out of it? And then after, Deanna is now going to go to, I don't know, Kiera Hogan, and it's just going to play. I mean, what's going to be the relationship? Say it again.
An AEW talent.
Yeah, right, exactly. So,
but let me ask you this question. Impact.
Honestly, you bring up that great point. We have to see how things are going to play out because we see how New Japan is with Impact as well.
Right. Yeah.
Let me ask you this question. Impact.
And NWA as well. So AEW is literally using all these other organizations, whereas AAA and Impact have had a working relationship because Conan's been with them for years. So,
yeah. What's up, Simon?
No, I was just gonna ask you, like, the only thing that I see out of this, because I'm really not invested in this back and forth shit with when Impact is gonna actually have their fucking title back. But if I were to be fucking entertained by this shit, I would say, wouldn't it be great to build up something to where you have, I don't know, a champion, but not a champion with a belt, a champion of Impact roster that's worthy and the number one everybody's behind to go and get that fucking belt back. You know, I feel like I would be invested in some shit like that. You know, I mean, build up a storyline, build up some time to say, look, they fucking flaunt our title in front of us. It doesn't have anybody that's on our roster. And then somebody steps the fuck up. I don't know. It's just that's if I were interested.
I just think what happens while we're playing this waiting game of when this is going to happen, I think the little bit of fans that Impact does have at some point could just be turned off just because they don't like what it is that they're seeing. You know, when you become invested in your brand, your wrestler, your whatever, and you come to find out like, well, shit, you know, there are people who have been Impact TNA fans for a while. And now they see what's happening. And you're telling me that they're going to just wait this out and go, man, I can't wait to see who's going to be the one to take that. I think some of them may become uninterested. And in many aspects, it is become uninterested. You have to find other things on the show that keeps you motivated, but it sucks not to have your champion there to keep you motivated, right?
But you know what, Impact.
If I go to SmackDown or Raw and I don't see my champion, I don't see Roman Reigns. That one episode that he was off the show that I think we were saying, well, it's kind of good not to have Roman on. Well, I guess from a TV aspect, maybe, but I'll tell you one thing, if I went to the show and didn't see him, I'll be fucking pissed. I want to see my champion there. You know what I mean? But again, when it comes to Impact, who do they have? And if you invested in that show and you don't have that, I think at some point you can get turned off, constantly waiting to see what's going to happen. And the fact that you had all these bullshit matches, with Moose, with Sammy, and how they all ended, there's just nothing exciting about it. That's all. That's just my thing. So,
well, I will say this, man.
We got to move on, but go ahead. What's up?
This ain't the worst shit TNA fans been through. If you're a real day one TNA fan, you fucking hated when Hogan came to fucking TNA and turned it into Impact Wrestling and changed the ring from 6 sides to fucking 4 sides. That's the worst travesty that ever happened to TNA. So this ain't shit.
John makes a point here. He says it's funny.
The 6-sided ring.
There you go. It's funny how the Tonys show up on Impact talking shit on their weekly promos, but no Scott on AEW. I'm curious on the insides of that deal.
Scott actually has appeared on the last couple AEW shows, but only
nice
only
guy,
as
right?
part of the comment.
Nice guy, Scott.
Yeah, Scott Damora.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, very nice guy. Yeah.
Yes.
Don't shit on our company. No. All right. Let's jump over to NXT. What's been going on over there, man? What's those big highlights over Simon Street?
Man, pretty much NXT just getting ready for TakeOver 36. So, with that in mind, the only thing that I will say, because I didn't find this episode to be completely exciting as other weeks, except for obviously the main event, Pete Dunne and Dragunov. That was amazing match. Again, showing their. I mean, like both of them working together. I was just entertained from start to finish. Obviously, with Walter coming out at the end, and Dragunov getting the upper hand, that sets up for there. So I'm glad that that's getting going because I'm excited to see Dragunov and Walter. But I think also too a couple things. Honestly, is I keep talking about every week LA Knight, and what's going on with Cameron Grimes. That was cool. I didn't know why we had to have fucking LA Knight go and totally demolish Andre Chase in like less than, 3 minutes. I don't know why we had to have that, but hey, I get it. So, the title's the $1 Million Man Championship's going to be up. So that's going to be interesting. I think the one thing that I did like though was seeing Gigi Dolan. I think the last time I remember seeing her was when she was in that tournament and she had partnered up with somebody, but Got a chance to see her. Amazing. I guess that's her finisher move. It looks like she's putting somebody in a octopus
abdominal stretch.
Abdominal stretch, and then it slams it. That looked pretty fucking sweet. And then also too, continuing on with the NXT breakout tournament. That was Odyssey Jones going obviously over Trey Baxter. And so he's going to the finals, and then whatever happens, I'm assuming next week, and then whatever. I think they're going to show that on the finals, the actual finals on
it's on TakeOver.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting. I wasn't really sold on Odyssey Jones when he first went in. I kind of like him a little bit. I like his energy that he has, and I think that's one of the great things he has going for him. As far as him being a big guy, he's all right. But we'll see actually what happens. We got to finally see Boa. At least I did. It wasn't impressed for all of that sitting there and getting whooped and stuff. I expected something a little bit better, and I was just saying, I wanted to see Drake Maverick more than I wanted to see him. So it is what it is. Like I said, the biggest thing takeaway from the night, it was between the main event and then also to the first date with Index. That was cute. Also, shout out to the Garganos. They're going to be expecting their first child, so that was some good news. I heard a little bit some mutterings about them breaking up or something like that, and I didn't know why they were going to do that with the way, because I thought they were successful. But when they kind of broke it on Instagram, I think it was Instagram or Twitter, one of the two, made sense. Get it. Totally get it. So super happy for them. But that's pretty much NXT. Super excited for TakeOver. That's going to be exciting. I'm going to try to pop some Red Bulls amongst everything else I'm going to be doing this weekend and watch it.
The one thing you missed was the stipulation on that Grimes LA Knight match.
Oh yeah. $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase is going to be LA Knight's butler.
Permanent butler if he
permanent butler.
Wow.
I tell you what, man, if LA Knight is going to employ him and at the age that the $1 Million Man is, you're going to be spending your ass up in insurance.
I tell you a couple of things that I guess I've heard that may be true. I guess starting next week is these changes in the logo and the lighting and all that's supposed to be taking place. And then I also heard they're going back to tapings.
Yep.
Okay.
Smart.
So yeah.
That's smart. Why not?
Yeah.
Main event finish really soured me on this episode of NXT. Amazing, great match. I love hard-hitting matches, but you have Dragunov, who is a guy that not too many standard NXT viewers know. He hasn't really had much in the way of exposure on the main NXT show. And then you're having him go against Walter, somebody who has had the NXT UK championship for 700 and some odd days. And then you have him get hit with a finish and pinned in the middle of the ring. Granted, it was off of a distraction, but still.
Yeah, but that sets up most likely you're going to see Walter lose the belt. That's the thing. But the thing is, you just hit it on the head. You're not invested in this guy. So one match is not going to make you go, oh my God, this guy's going to beat Walter. You need to do circumstantial. And the circumstantial on it is he gets distracted, he gets pinned, and you would assume that that's probably what you're setting up then, is that somehow he's going to end up beating Walter then, because at this point, Walter's not doing you any good over there. So
Walter's going to get moved to one of the other shows. Honestly, it wouldn't even surprise me if they put him on the main roster.
Possibly.
It wouldn't be a bad thing. And I also took that they put Dragunov on this week's NXT just so, as you said, since they see people who are not familiar with him can kind of see what he was. And other than the finish, yes, you got a chance to see it. If this is the first time you've seen Dragunov, you're like, fuck, this was a great match. This dude is obviously a striker. You know, he's definitely, submission is really well, what they call it, ground pound wrestling, so now people probably will be more invested with Walter and Dragunov too than what they would have prior.
And what they might also do is, because they have the show this week, possibility that you have a Walter match where Dragunov distracts Walter and Walter loses this one. And then, so, you can go in that way as well. But it doesn't hurt. Listen, when those two start wrestling, ain't no one going to remember what the hell happened. They're just going to see that match and it's going to steal the show.
Yeah.
You know what else I wanted to give Sensitive Steve this question, because I know you've seen Saray before she got to NXT, right?
Yeah.
That move that she pulled on Dakota Kai.
Yeah.
I don't know what to call it. Has she done that before?
Yeah, she's done it before. Like
that's what I thought. Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
I didn't even want to talk about that either. I mean, you're touting Saray as having this undefeated streak, and then Ember Moon comes down with whatever, so she's not medically cleared, and so you put her in the ring with Dakota Kai.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of book yourself into a corner. You either take the undefeated streak from Saray, or you beat Dakota Kai right before a women's championship match. Yep. So I think
what they had to go ahead.
No, the undefeated streak really doesn't mean anything, to be quite honest.
Well, that they were hyping that up. That's the only reason why I said that, is because they presented it the last couple of weeks, the last couple of times that she was on NXT TV. Like it almost seemed like as if they were starting to build an undefeated streak with her, and then it just pissed away.
But the question becomes then, who does Dakota Kai beat to show that she might have some kind of legitimacy against Raquel? Because Dakota Kai, I mean, if you look at her, she shouldn't have a chance in hell against Raquel.
Yeah.
Which is still kind of one of those, like, it's just kind of I don't know. It's a hard matchup. So give her the win against the girl who had the undefeated streak, I guess.
Well, and also too, with regards to Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez, it's not going to be straight up, first and foremost. Second of all, let's just say she does win, and I'm not trying to be, or telling what the fuck's going to happen. But I will say, if they're not going to introduce someone new or someone on the roster for interference or her buddying up with somebody, it's not going to be, it's going to be par at best. And I'm going to be completely honest with you, with all the best possible joy in the world for it to be a good match. It just doesn't match up well. I mean, Raquel has beaten people way bigger than fucking Dakota Kai. How are you going to sell that if it ain't interference and she doesn't bring somebody in or something? I don't know, handcuff her to a fucking ring rope or some shit. It just, to me, I just don't see the selling point in it. But hey, I get it. They need something.
All right. Well, there we go. NXT. We'll move right along. Impact Wrestling. I just have a couple of things. Nothing major.
Didn't we already talk about
I thought we already talked about Impact Wrestling.
What the fuck?
I understand the confusion, because that's what AEW does. It beats up on Impact, and then you think it's Impact you're talking about. But
so why do we talk about it?
They do have their own show, so allow me to talk about a couple of things on there.
You might want to let the viewers know.
Because certain people only watch shows if they have a champion.
Tenille, she had a match against Taylor Wilde, and who comes back? Good old Madison Rayne. Haven't seen Madison in a while. Looks good. Came in and interfere and costing Taylor the match, and we'll see where that goes. They seem like they sort of planned that. Madison and Tenille being really good friends there. So that was a great little segment on the show. Kiera Hogan came out and kicked a promo. And man, oh man, Kiera, I'm a fan. That's all I'm gonna say. You know how the way Simon Street is with Sasha, I tell you, Kiera's just, I tell you, yeah. All right, so
that deep, huh?
Dude, she confronted Tasha Steelz because, of course, Tasha last week had, and let me quote this right. Kiera said, her goofy ass friend. Yes, her goofy ass friend. She got attacked by her last week, and so she called both of them to the ring, Tasha and her sidekick, and they didn't come. Who came to the ring instead? Su Yung. Su Yung. Hey, it's Su again. Yes. It's great to see Sue, but she wasn't alone, Sin City Steve. It seemed like she converted her tag partner she had been tagging with for some while. Kimberly has now become one of the bridesmaid.
Is she undead now?
She's undead. Oh. Yeah. And this is the part that I know you and this is the part that I know you're gonna really, really enjoy. Su Yung actually controls her from afar. Oh, so yeah. So during the ring, Su Yung was at the platform, and there was one point we all know Sue likes to put on that nasty old sock that you're gonna go ahead and put in the mouth. And as she was doing that, that's exactly the time Kimberly was doing that. So she was controlling her and all the motion and everything. So apparently, yes, Su Young's back and controlling the converted Kimberly, who is now the undead.
I see a lot of that in wrestling. Impact, people controlling people.
Yeah,
right.
Is that like a thing now?
Kimberly, it might be a thing. Lily. I mean, there you go.
Yeah, exactly. Outside of that, there was a 20-man battle royal for the number one contenders match, who at first, I guess from when it was Thursday, the winner believed they were going to be facing Kenny Omega. But as of Friday, they learned they're going to be now facing Christian Cage. And who is that number one contender? This is for you, Matt Michaels. You ready? Brian Myers.
The guy who makes the bologna.
I thought you were gonna give me the traditional who, but that's pretty close. Just giving that answer right there. Yeah, man, Brian Myers. Yeah, well, you know.
And you're talking shit about people not getting title shots, and then they put up Brian Myers.
Okay, but let me ask you this, Sin City. You might not be a Brian Myers fan, but have you been watching any of his matches since he's been with Impact?
I've actually seen a couple. And the thing is, Brian Myers is pretty solid in the ring.
Yeah.
He, for whatever reason, never really got any kind of gimmick to where he got off the ground in WWE. So
that's true.
Yeah. So yeah. I just had to give you shit. That's all that it was. I just had to throw it up and just give you shit.
Listen, I know, and you're right. I mean, come on, that's not a name of a person who's going to be delivered the belt. But at some point, you're thinking, and this is where I thought, going back to that whole thing with Kenny, I thought this was maybe going to be a possibility to help maybe build somebody on the Impact roster, someone who would take that from Kenny. Maybe that
who said they still can't do that.
So it's going to be Christian that's going to do that. That's going to do the building.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That wouldn't surprise me at all, man. Like that, yeah.
Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. Do you believe that Christian is on the same exact level as Kenny Omega in terms of name power?
No. In terms of name and power, no, I don't think so. But realistically speaking, I mean, they'll be able to take a look at it, and Christian is known the world over as being a very, very solid talent and someone that is very easily recognizable. And quite frankly, let's be real, to the casual fan, more so than Kenny Omega.
Yeah.
Because Christian has been around for years, was a part of, WWE locker room for years. So your casual fans, your people that aren't necessarily in the know, are going to know Christian before they're going to know Kenny Omega. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that is that, which is now setting up for the pay-per-view this Friday at Emergence. We now will have that. Boy, I guess Christian gonna be working this weekend too, huh? It's gonna be a lot of wrestlers that's gonna be working this weekend.
It's being taped tonight and tomorrow.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah,
that's right. Emergence is. Yes, it is. Okay.
Yeah. Anything that's essentially being done that's going to be airing this weekend is pretty much being taped.
AEW also?
No, I mean pay-per-view this weekend, like Saturday, Sunday, Friday, pay-per-view wise. That's
pay-per-view. Okay.
Not going to like Impact, and I think ROH has a pay-per-view type stuff scheduled or whatever.
And you think theirs is being done earlier as well? Taped earlier?
Would imagine so, because a lot of these guys have commitments to the indie dates that are built around this. So
got you. All right. So that's pretty much it, man, for Impact. Nothing crazy, but we'll see what Brian Myers can do to represent the brand. And we'll go from there. Let's keep going. ROH, nothing too much. Of course, they're still searching for the Ring of Honor Women's champion. They're going through that entire thing. They had a match against Holiday versus Max. And did you see that, Simon Street? Your volume's off. Simon? Okay. Well, let me.
Sorry about that. It was messing up. All right. Yes. I did actually watch that match. It was good. I mean, I wanted to see a little bit more for two people that are, Sin City Steve's favorite, the Supernatural.
Yeah, it was a Supernatural.
Only Dead, which is like the female version of the Boogeyman. And, that's what I thought. Did y'all not think the same thing? And then what's called Maxie Impeller, which I've seen her before, and I love her whole gimmick. I love her ferocity. But
I'm surprised she hasn't already been like signed or picked up somewhere.
Facts. Yeah. Facts.
She looks very impressive, and from the first time I saw her, I mean, just fucking scary. And I like the fact she doesn't she does not have a female quintessential name.
Right.
Like Max the Impaler is like. She's badass. She's good.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. So the tournament is picking up, but that was the only one that I ended up watching. That actual match.
That was the only match that they did have. They're getting close to the very end. So, but that was actually a pretty good, a good match there. The last part of that show, they had a champions versus all-stars match, and the all-stars would be like Flip Gordon, Josh Woods, the Briscoes, and EC3. And then they teamed up against the champions of ROH. So you have Bandito, of course, your world champion, Jonathan Grisham, who's your pure champion, Dragon Lee, who's your television champion, and Violence Unlimited is your tag team. Of course, that's Chris Dixon and Homicide. What's up, Sin City?
That's a hell of a team. Yeah. The champions team, that's a hell of a team.
Right. The champions versus the All-Stars. So it was really entertaining, man. It was, and as you can imagine, I mean, it started off cordial, and by the time it ended, it was matches taking place all over the ring in there. So, but good stuff. ROH, they do have their own event going on that we just mentioned. I know it's going to be Friday.
It's not going to be taped. It's both Friday and Saturday.
Right.
So it is going live.
Yeah.
And some of those who are wrestling like on the first night, will end up out here by the time the second night, is going on. So,
yeah. Yep. Lots of stuff happening.
Which is really, I don't know, man. Why are you doing a 2-night pay-per-view? Not only are you going to get you know, probably not a lot of buys on one night, but let's do it 2 nights.
Well, maybe maybe someone knows something we don't know. I don't know. Let's jump over into New Japan. We've got to talk about it. We've been talking about this entire weekend. So much was going on, and the Never Openweight Championship. That's the one I kept seeing the hype for, and it seems that Jay White Sin City did defeat David Finlay for that. How exciting, man, was this whole entire pay-per-view that you've been hearing about?
Bro, this was a very solid show. The Jay White David Finlay match, they did a really good job. If you can go back and watch this, they did a video recap of their entire feud. So I know that we had talked on previous episodes about, you know, their storied past. But they ran a very solid video package before this match. Jay White obviously cut off a Finlay move and hit the Blade Runner for the win. So he did retain, but immediately after the match, Tomohiro Ishii came out and basically said that he wanted next. So sign me up for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. IWGP. I mean, Lance Archer didn't have it for long, right? I mean, wouldn't he hold that title for a month or so?
He was a transitional champion. That way Moxley didn't. That way Moxley didn't have to lose the match to Tanahashi.
Okay.
So Lance Archer did lose the IWGP US Championship to Hiroshi Tanahashi. Interesting fact: this Tanahashi winning the US Championship is actually the first Japanese US champion that they've had. So, pretty interesting stuff. They've largely kept it to the Gaijins holding that title, and it's interesting that they gave it to Tanahashi. And realistically, it bears repeating that a couple of weeks ago on AEW Dynamite, Jon Moxley called out Tanahashi. So are we going to have a 3-way possibly at All Out? Lance Archer versus Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi for the IWGP United States Championship.
Yeah.
So, that'd be pretty dope.
There's one problem with that, Steve, and it's simply this. You're getting excited, as fans of your ilk will.
Of course.
But those of us who are mainstream watchers, whatever.
It means nothing. Yeah. And I mean, ultimately, I think that they've done a fair amount of things to, you know, get that IWGP US Championship at least defended a couple of times on Dynamite. Tanahashi, I think that realistically, they can do a lot in terms of running promotional hype videos between now and All Out, and especially at All Out. You will have a smart mark fan base there where a lot of those people that are going to be in attendance will react accordingly to Tanahashi. And I think that actually will endear him to casual fans that maybe haven't seen him perform before. Now, mind you, this is not the Tanahashi from 10 years ago that, you know, was very, very solid and quite honestly, probably at the top of the business. Now we're starting to see Tanahashi, who is broken down a bit. At this point, he's got, you know, the whole storied thing with John Cena was the 5 moves of doom. Well, at this point, Tanahashi has about 3 moves of doom. And unfortunately, Father Time is undefeated. So I think if nothing else, you know, this could bode well and give us that match, the 3-way at All Out. I mean, it makes sense at this point, especially because after the match, Lance Archer got on the mic and said that he wanted his rematch in an AEW ring. and Tanahashi agreed to it. So
Okay.
regardless, Tanahashi is going to be on AEW programming, whether that's at All Out, or whether that's just, evidently going to be on an episode of Dynamite. But I personally, like I said, would love to see that three-way at All Out.
Let me ask you this. Let me jump to this. The Good Brothers, Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows, they defeated Jon Moxley and Yuji Nagata.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you, is it just me, or does it just seem like that New Japan has, I guess, love for the Good Brothers than, say, other promotions, right? Would you not say?
Definitely.
Because they seem to get over when anything New Japan, and I know they've done a lot. I'm not, I know their history with New Japan, but it just seems like if that was the same match that would have been on either AEW or Impact, they probably would have took the L. More than likely, they would have.
Not necessarily. I mean, ultimately, you have to look at who ate the pin. Gallows and Anderson hit the Magic Killer on Yuji Nagata and pinned Nagata. So Moxley didn't take the fall. So that still kept Moxley strong.
Right.
Gallows and Anderson, they're a multiple time IWGP heavyweight tag team championship team.
Right.
There was a time, when the Bullet Club was running hot and heavy, when, Devitt was there, Balor, or Styles was there, where they were fucking untouchable as a tag team.
Right.
And it's one of those things where, yes, they definitely do have a lot of love for those guys, deservedly so. They have a lot of history in New Japan for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm very interested to see what happens with the guys that came down and got in their face after the match. I'm talking about the Gorillas of Destiny, Tama Tonga and Tangaloa, which that's a match that I really, really want to see.
Gotcha. All right.
And who knows? That might be a match for the Impact Tag Titles.
That's true. That is true. Man, I mean, there's a lot more on the list. I don't know if you want to touch it or we just go over quickly into our next one. I'm just kind of going down. Look like Juice Robinson had a win. Tomohiro Ishii had a win. Oh, that's right.
Over Moose.
Beat Moose. Yeah, go figure. So, all right.
although I do have to give props to Moose. So Ishii is like 5'4", maybe.
Yeah.
So he's a shorter guy. His nickname's the Stone Pitbull for a reason. But So he was seated on the top turnbuckle, and Moose is not a cruiserweight by any means, but he jumped up and drop kicked Ishii while he was sitting on the top turnbuckle. Oh, that's pretty fucking agile, to say the least. Yeah. Impact really has something special with Moose, man. I would love to see Moose be the one to knock off Cage and take that title. Absolutely. I wanted him to beat Omega. So
yeah. All right. Let's jump over quickly. We never talk about AAA much. We briefly mentioned them earlier, but there's a couple of things that went down. And Matt Michaels and Simon Street, you guys can jump into this one here, even if you didn't see it. This is what was reported, though. It says here that Andrade El Idolo was originally scheduled to win the AAA Mega Championship from Kenny Omega at Triple Mania. I guess that's 29, but it was AEW who asked AAA to hold off on the title change, according to Dave Meltzer. Meltzer noted that AEW has control over the finishes of Omega's matches in other promotions. What's your take on that? You think that should have happened? I mean, anyone, if you want to jump on that. I mean, he was scheduled to win, take it from Kenny, but of course, Kenny already lost to Cage. So I guess he couldn't lose to Andrade. He still would have been AEW champion, correct? So why not? Why does we have to be reminded that AEW has control over the finishes of Omega's matches and other promotions?
Make no sense.
None of it makes sense.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense, quite frankly.
Okay.
Like they could have easily let him lose that title to Andrade. And at that point, now you're building the narrative for the All Out match with Christian that, okay, well, Omega just lost the Impact Championship. Then he just lost the AAA Championship. Right. Now he's a vulnerable guy. I mean, this was what we were talking about from the beginning. Essentially, him holding all the championships and then losing all of them virtually at the same time.
Right.
It would have made perfect sense, but whatever.
And it says that as of this writing, it's unknown when he will defend the AAA Mega Championship next. So, wow. Okay.
Who knows?
Yeah.
The only thing that I can figure is that maybe they didn't want to have Andrade, who is an AEW guy, with the AAA Championship, but that doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't know.
It's funny. Chris just said on the chat that Kenny Omega, this generation version of Hulk Hogan. Guess so. The last thing,
at least Omega can wrestle.
At least Hogan was entertaining.
Oh,
you got to have a delicate balance, bro.
Last thing from AAA, just so you know, Nature Boy Ric Flair accompanied Andrade to the ring at Triple Mania 29 on Saturday night. And the Hall of Famer was not there to be a spectator. There was a spot in the match where Flair got in the ring and stopped Omega from hitting Andrade with the AAA Mega Championship belt. And that was followed up by both Flair and Andrade trading chops on Omega's chest. And Flair followed up by chops blocking Conan and then applying the figure 4 on him while Andrade did the same to Omega. So there you go. Ric Flair, AAA, Andrade. What you think?
I mean, why not? I mean, you know, Ric Flair's on the damn windshield commercials with LA Knight. I mean, get work where you can get it.
John said, once again, the still one from Simon Street, it was cute to see Andrade have his future puppy-in-law, Ric Flair, in his corner. Real cute.
That's real cute that we're actually calling it a poppy-in-law.
Guys, we've gotten through it. We've gotten through wrestling talk. We got just a few minutes left. There's going to be a lot of wrestling happening this week in the Vegas area. We're going to do our best to try to keep you apprised to everything that's going on our social media. Support indie wrestling. We want you to do that. I mean, if there's a lot of people here in town, even locals, I mean, we're talking 65,000, 70,000. It'll just be great if we can get some people to show up at some of these indie shows and give it a watch. Some of these places have names that you would be familiar with. Some you may not, but they're working their way to grab your attention in some way. So we're going to be keeping you updated just during our social media. Some of the shows will even be at as well. So come by and say hello. We'll be maxed up, but we will have our Vegas Badboyz shirts on, so you'll know that it's us. All right. And so, just keep up with us in that manner. Is there any other wrestling news we should mention before we head off and prepare for our 3 count topics? Nope.
I don't have anything.
All right. Well, with that, I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. If you are watching the show, don't go away too far. We're going to come right back. We got 3 good topics I know you're going to enjoy. If you're listening to us on the podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to download tomorrow's episode, which will be Tuesday to you, and that'll be 3 count where you get a chance to hear that. Okay. So with that, thank you for hanging out with us, and we'll